4-0. 4-0. I I I really don't know really what I really don't know what else to say. Um I guess we'll go over the goals first and how I felt going in, how I feel afterwards. Now, one thing to preface, this is like the second loss in like since the Chelsea game. This is like the second loss in like 18 games or whatever, 19 games. So Barca have been in a great run of form. Given that the opponents are just La Liga teams and stuff like that, Barca should be doing a lot better and should be performing and winning games against Mallorca, against Elche, against this team, that team. Um, and I'm happy because as a few years back, and maybe this is a low standard, but the reality is it's that there's been many times where Barca were not very good, and there wasn't any sort of expectation almost with Barcelona. And as Barca continue to get out of the debt, continue to do better financially speaking, and they're improving sporting wise, Flick has brought a sense of has brought a new sense of life to the team. So never did I think going into this that Barca would lose this bad. And granted, all in the first half. All of this happening in the first half. So we'll go over the goals. First, um, again an excuse, but Eric goes and gives a pass to Juan Garcia. The pitch, by the way, I'm gonna mention it once and once only, with context about the entire match. The pass back bobbles. Garcia then makes the mistake of not anticipating a bobble, to not anticipate something like this happening. So he puts his foot up, expecting the ball to come to him naturally. So it is his mistake. I think he should lay his foot a bit more down. It's way too high up. The ball uh, um comes through him, basically goes right through him, goes into the net. But again, to talk about again about the pitch was awful. The pitch was really bad, and the reason why I want to even highlight this in the first place, um, is because the pitch was so bad. Every single Barcelona player was slipping all over the place. It might have been a good reason to why Atletico struggled so much against Betis. I think that game was just flat. It wasn't there wasn't a lot going on for either team. Betis just took an opportunity and hung on to the end of the game. And then for Atletico, they that might have prepared them a little bit to expect that. I mean, this is perfect for us because at the end of the day, like it'll make Barca's football a lot harder to play. Where Atletico don't even need the ball in the on the ground. They could do one twos in the air. They can do crosses, quick switches of play, which is stuff that is good against how Barca play in the first place because they play such a high line, because they play such an aggressive style of football. Um, those combinations in the air, those quick switches from side to side, crosses, etc., are effective. And Atletico knew that, and Atletico played the game very well tactically. I think Diego Simeone set them up perfectly well. Lookman has been an immense addition, and I think they did it very well, especially given that Barrios is injured. Because Barrios is injured, it's taken away a bit from the midfield. But when you partner Lorente with Koke, Simeone is always going to carry that right side. Griezmann is going to provide an extra support. Alvarez too sometimes, with Lookman and Simeone bombing the wings. Great setup and a 4-4-2 for Simeone's side. And Barca, on the other hand, uh, just But again, to go, that was just in conversation about how the pitch set up. I think it favored Atletico, especially given that they were already played a few games there, and it's been something that's been a problem for a little bit, and now it's gotten super worse because of the conditions in Madrid currently, the constant raining and stuff like that. But going into the second goal, not good enough. Not good enough. Too easy. Find Griezmann. Griezmann shot. If we're being honest, Griezmann should have scored a goal pretty similar, but on the opposite side in the last game and missed. So uh, I think a lot of this was coming for Barca going into this again. I don't want to tangent too much, but there's always been so many times where Barcelona have just struggled in the first half and just not done well enough and have to do come back and do more in the second half. Whether it's 0-0 going into the second half, if Barca are winning 1-0 or 2-0, but you just don't think they're convincing. They're doing okay, but they're not doing great. Into the second half, they kind of grow into it and they do a bit better. Um, so you'd think, in my opinion, unless Barca were going to go ahead and gun ho and score 3 goals like they did last year in the first half, I thought going into the second half with the idea of keeping it close was the best thing. And instead, Lookman scored a third. I think that completely changes everything. Lookman scoring the third completely crushes everything. 3 minutes later, or like about 4 minutes later, Casado comes off. Casado already with the yellow card, still following players, not being able to match the intensity of the Atletico midfield, and then the fourth. And honestly, the more of the same. Switches back into the middle, goal. It, pretty much the 3 goals were very similar, as they were nice, quick switches of play to one side, and then a runner coming in to receive it and score. So Atletico did everything perfectly well to go into it. But let's I'm gonna go over really quick. The second half really wasn't much. Super stale. Eric with the red card. You could have argued Simeone deserved the red card earlier, but it is what it is. I don't necessarily think. I mean, it would have changed the game. I forget when Simeone fouled Balde. It might have already been like 3-0. So not that definitely they had already scored. It might have been 2 or 3-0 already at that point. It might have even been 4-0 already. And you can argue going into a second half with 10 men, especially how good Barca are at creating chances, typically, because that wasn't what happened today. So just going over the first half, this is not this to me is this is throughout the match, and in my watch along, I was just like, this isn't Barca. This is not Barcelona. There's no chance creation here. There's one big chance, which I think was like a Fermin chance, and off of 30% ball possession. I've just never seen Barca concede this type of XG, this many big chances, this many shots at goal. It's just not good enough. Not good enough. Period. Not good enough. Not good enough. And a lot of this is the a lot of this comes with the fact that Atletico for a long time, I think in the last 3 matchups against Atletico, Barca have beat them, right? The second leg at Wanda, the La Liga game, and the game earlier in the season at home. Atletico had chances, and Atletico missed easy chances. I think this is because when you look at this XG, this should have just been like maybe 2 goals up. They scored 4. They had 3 big chances. They missed 2. They could have been like 3-0 up. 4-0 is just, especially because it's an own goal too at the beginning, but it's a mistake from Barca. Overall, though, it just comes from the fact that Atletico for a long time had been deserving of more opportunities against Barca. They've with the very little they've had with the ball and everything, Atletico have always come up very well and matched up pretty well against Barcelona. They've been unfortunate with missing chances. Even the last one, the Thiago Amandera chance that he went through basically 2-3 players and then missed a 1-on-1. It's just, I think this was just a game. This was the game for them to go ahead and do it. And second half, both big chances, both missed. The second half was more Atletico being very conservative, Barca not really having a lot in it anymore. And yeah, and just to go through everybody quickly, because I'm not looking to talk too much about it. If in my opinion after this game is that I just think Barca cannot win a Champions League this season. it's still not impossible for this Barca team to go far in the Champions League, especially if they want to keep this second leg as a throwaway game because it's 4-0 already. Like, it doesn't really matter. If they want to just start Rooney, like this same team with like Rooney instead of the young Bernal, instead of Gubarcia Rajo, instead of Kunde, Cancelo, and then instead of Balde, Gerard Martin, and Chesney. If we want to just to dump all these players and do all that, then fine, then fine. Uh, there's a possibility that Barca's best starting 11 when everyone's fully fit with enough momentum could definitely produce great football and go pretty far. But I don't think they win it. Even if they reach like a final, for example, I don't think Barcelona have it in them to win. I would love to see them play against PSG and in the round of 16 to really testify, to really show what they could do. But I don't think they have a lot in them. I don't think they have a lot in them. I don't think Barca go very far, and I would love to see them compete, and I'd love to see them see where it is that Barca continue to struggle, because I mean it's pretty evident where they're struggling. It's pretty obvious, but against a big team in a big round the 16 quarterfinals, semifinals, another reassurance. I think it'll be another big old sign to Joan Laporta, to whoever's going to be the president come the summertime. This team needs improvement. I think Flick has set this team up to be much better than what they are, if we're being very honest. Like, Marc Asado starting against Atletico is not like, wow, you know? Marc Bernal's not at that level. Balde, in my opinion, has regressed. People have gotten a bit worse, but with the way Flick has been hounding these guys and teaching these guys and trying to put the best product out there, he still managed to somehow do better than last season in the league and somehow make top 8 in the Champions League. So if we're being honest, we can't be super hyperbolic about this, but I will be hyperbolic, and I will say that this before this, I had a lot of doubt that Barca can even win a Champions League. This solidified it for me that I'm almost like I'm 95% sure Barca don't win the Champions League. But if we go over every player in Barca's team, that's all I care about. I think Atletico played a perfectly well game. I think Lookman, Alvarez, after not scoring forever, did great, and Griezmann did great. I thought Simeone did really, really well again, to press, to run, to do so much. And their fullbacks too in defending did really, really good. Really, 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 really good. Um, Musso as well, the goalkeeper, terrific job, did really, really great. But just going over the team, Garcia, a howler, a really bad game. It's fine. But let's not touch on that. It's fine. Garcia has been super solid the entire season. It's fine. Balde did great in the first action and then didn't really do much after that. So I'm very disappointed by Balde. I want to get to Casado because it was very short, 37 minutes. Very poor, very, very poor. I think it's time to offload someone like Casado. I think Tommy coming through and other people within the midfield that can definitely come through and play that position should come and play there, I feel like. Eric, I kind of just feel bad for him because the own goal isn't even his fault. And then the red card is also not his fault. He was the most unlucky person today because at the end of the day, the pass wasn't his fault, and the red card comes from a slip because of the pitch. So it sucks. It just sucks. Kubatsi, I think with the pressure he was receiving and the very little he had to work with, he did okay. Kunde had a terrific block to stop one of the goals, but I think it was going out regardless. Um, and it was just an okay game. It wasn't great. De Jong was an okay game. I thought off the ball he really wanted to do a lot, but once he pressed, he didn't want to come back. He didn't want to run back. He's highly motivated to run and push and press someone, but doesn't want to come back and support. Whereas at Pedri, that's much different. I see Pedri run up to somebody, lose the opportunity, and then sprint back as fast as he can. Olmo, it was. Uh, he did as well as he could. I think Fermin Lopez was Barca's best player in my opinion. Because he was trying to do a lot more than what out of the situation given the circumstances. I think I hate to repeat that phrase again, but just Fermin Lopez did I think pretty well for the context of the game. I don't even know which one to go to first. Ferran, not good. Offered nothing off the ball. Offered nothing on the ball. And then Lamine Yamal, pretty locked up pretty much the whole game. He had good chances, good dribbles, but when there's so many tight spaces and so little room to work in, it gets really difficult. I've been yapping for too long. Um, People on the bench. Lewandowski tried as best as he could. Cancelo actually looked pretty decent to come on, and then Araujo as well. I think Araujo should have started, in my opinion. Just because of how the game turned out and how like slippery and stuff like that. Yes, it's prone to errors because we saw with Eric and Garcia, it's prone to errors. But when this Atletico team has the pitch that they have and they have almost like an advantage because of it, I think you have to put Araujo in. I think Araujo should have started. I think Bernal should have started. Gerard Martin also didn't really do much. I'm surprised Bernal didn't even come on. I'm surprised no one else came on. Like, given Rashford was injured, given Pedri's been injured, given Gavi's been injured, given Rashford's injured, given Christensen's injured, the depth is gone. There's no depth. This is basically the best 11 that we can line up with besides Lewandowski, because Cancelo and Araujo are just a plus ones all around the pitch. So again, I'm really disappointed. I want to end it off and say it again. Like, this Barca team, the way that it's at right now, cannot win the Champions League and will not win the Champions League. And big up to Atletico. I think they did have. I think they have. I think they have one foot. I think they have both of their feet into the final. I think the only thing pulling them back is the potential of Barca holding on for dear life, pulling their shirt back to try to get them out of the final, but they're pretty much in it. So